Thank you, sir. 5 minutes after 7 o'clock, 7:05. Good morning. Welcome to the T-Bone and Heather Show. We have a guest in the studio. Kyle Lockrow is here.
Did we say it right, Kyle?
Yes, you did.
Awesome,
Okay.
awesome.
Kyle is a race car driver. First of all, let's start with the basics. Got a great name for a race car driver.
Thank you.
Kyle Lockrow. That's a good name. You can't be Steven Abramowitz to drive race cars.
I don't think so,
It doesn't work. Kyle Lockrow, that's a guy I could hear going to the winner's circle. You're from La Plata.
Yes, I am.
And, okay, now I am all cards at the table here. I know nothing about races and race cars and all that kind of stuff.
That's fine.
So let's start with the basics. What do you drive and in what circuit and all that kind of stuff?
All right. I just recently went to Daytona International Speedway in December. I got approved by running one of their cars down at the annual test session to a race in ARCA. I'm approved to run any of the facilities that they have on the tour.
Now, was it a timed event where you had to get a certain time to get approved?
No, pretty much you just need to go down, you need to run, be smart, not get involved in any incidents with anybody, prove you can draft with other drivers. Pretty much as long as you're not a problem child and they don't pull you in the big red truck and slap your wrist, you're okay.
How fast are you going?
Well, it depends. If you're by yourself, you do an average of about 178 to 183, pending how, I guess, tightened up your car is aerodynamically.
So about like they do on Route 4 going to work, give or take.
Well, they give the Beltway guys a run for their money, but
Right.
Route 4, I've heard they go pretty quick.
Right.
I bet. And,
All right.
And then, if you're driving with other drivers, how fast are you going?
That'll bump your speed up potentially up to about 10 miles an hour, pending the amount of cars in the pack.
So you're touching 200 miles per hour?
Potentially, yes.
All right.
Wow.
So now walk me through this. Do you have to win a certain number of races before I turn on the TV and there's Kyle on NASCAR? How does it work?
Well, the best way I can describe it is you need to be consistent. Winning races is great, but consistency over the long haul, consistent lap times really makes you a prime driver, because you have to be able to bring the car home. Winning races and being fast for a lap is great, but if you can contend for championships, car owners and sponsors really take a look at that and take precedent in that.
You look at racing differently than somebody like myself would look at it. I'm just looking at the cars go around the circle. You're seeing it at a whole different level. When you're watching racing, who are you looking at and saying, now there's a good driver?
Well, what I look for in a driver is somebody who is 50% in the car, 50% out of the car.
What does that mean?
What I mean is, with especially as commercial and mainstream as NASCAR has become now.
Right, really mainstream.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to be able to do radio shows such as this with you guys and be a spokesperson for somebody like DuPont or Lowe's. You have to be able to represent these people if these multi-million-dollar enterprises are going to put money behind you, because you're a rolling billboard for them 38, 40 weeks a year.
Right.
And then on the racetrack, you have to be able to conduct yourself appropriately. You can't cause any problems getting out of the car, obviously emotions on certain tracks.
Because that's all you hear about sometimes. Monday morning is Tony Stewart did this, or somebody got in trouble here, there was a fight, in the pit. You hear that all the time.
Well, what some people also don't understand is that's the raw emotion of the sport. You do want a guy who can get out of the car and show his emotion. It does get the fans in there.
Right.
And it does create that little bit of media buzz where you're talking about a driver, because any type of PR is it may not be great PR, but any type of PR is PR for your team and getting attention.
Right. That crazy driver who was dating the assassin. Did you hear about that guy?
The Kurt Busch
story
has been going on for a long time.
Well, he's nuts, right?
I'm not going to say anything on that. I respect Kurt Busch for his talent.
And I respect his girlfriend, no matter what.
And you can't say anything bad, because his girlfriend will show up in the dark of night with a garrote around your neck and take you right out.
Exactly.
All right, so let me ask you this.
Okay.
As it gets to these guys jumping out of their car and throwing their helmet at everybody and all that kind of stuff. Now, again, I'm not a follower of NASCAR, so I don't know if this is a new thing. But like in hockey, I follow hockey. If you ask somebody, a purist, about hockey, they're going to say, well, it's the skating and all that kind of stuff. But truthfully, the fighting is a part of it.
Absolutely.
Now, hockey will say, we don't encourage it, but they certainly don't discourage it. Is that the same kind of deal in NASCAR?
Sort of. NASCAR doesn't condone fighting.
Right.
Of course.
But if it helps the ratings
Sure.
and it does drum up that media buzz for the sport and it gets guys trending or teams trending or the industry trending and it gets people talking about it, which can bring in potential new business partners or enterprises, absolutely it works both ways. It's just any sport or business operation is not going to condone it. But if it gets attention, they're not going to be against it.
Now, as a driver,
for somebody who doesn't know a lot about NASCAR, he sure has a lot of questions, doesn't he? Go ahead.
Well,
Steve.
actually, honestly, Heather, I appreciate that. I love sitting down and having a great conversation and talking to people who don't know as much about the sport.
Right.
I'm a little bit of a student of the sport. I have been for so many years. I pay attention to not just the current age of racing, but I go back to the days in the 40s and 50s when the bootleggers of North Carolina really helped bring the sport into something. And then as the years progressed, I enjoy reading up and looking at old fixtures and film.
Does every car out there, are you all running the same engine?
Absolutely not. Some teams, money buys speed. So some teams have a little bit of a different motor. They can get them from Hendrick Motorsports. They can get them from Roush.
But is it the same horsepower?
No, actually no. It
Okay,
depends.
well,
I
fill
thought
me
it
in
all
on that.
had to be
I thought
the
you guys had to
same,
be
like an
exactly
even
the same.
keel,
Well,
right?
they prefer them to be even keel, but some teams, again, as I say, it comes down to funding. Money buys speed in motorsports.
I gotcha.
Yeah, okay.
So a team that might have a couple-year-old motor, it might be down 10 or 15 horsepower, but you don't know that as an outsider looking at the motor. You're just seeing all
Sure.
the belts and pieces
Right.
and bells and whistles, as they would say, doing their thing. You don't realize that the motor might be down a little bit till it gets on the racetrack, and so somebody like yourself may not hear the pitch in the motor to tell the motor's down, or may not notice coming out of the corner.
Now, is that something as a driver that you're monitoring to tell the crew, hey, this thing's, I'm going to use a term I use, this thing's getting a little loose. I don't know what the hell that means, but
No,
I've heard people
good
say it.
one,
Well,
Right.
actually, yeah.
Good phrasing.
You actually drive a race car. A lot of people think you drive with your hands. You actually drive with your tailbone. You actually feel the car. When you're in the seat, the feeling of the car, you can feel, and I've actually been able to do this, I can feel whether the car is riding on the right rear, the right front, left rear, left front. I can feel based on the throttle response if it's pulling out of the corner real well, if it's lagging, if it's...
When they say it's getting loose, are you losing traction? What are you doing?
Well, loose and tight are two terms that people are interested in racing.
You ain't kidding.
Tight means the front end of the car is pushing. When you put input into the
What now?
steering
What?
wheel,
Okay, the
What?
front of the
Walk me
car
through that
is
again.
pushing, so when you turn, it's pushing
when you
towards
turn
the...
the steering wheel to the left,
Mhm.
the front of the car isn't the tires aren't into the racetrack, as they would call it. They're not gripping the track
Okay,
completely.
yeah, I'm with you.
So the car is going to want to slide, and
Ah.
then when the car's loose, as they say, the back end of the car is not settled. The tires aren't gripping enough, or they're worn out, so the car's going to have a tendency to be a little bit
swishy.
tail happy, as they call it. There's another
Tail
term that a
happy.
guy...
I knew a girl like
Right.
that one.
There's a term that a guy taught me up in New Jersey, but I can't say it on the air.
Uh-huh,
So-
all right,
All right. So when it's getting that way, you need new tires, right?
Well, not necessarily. New tires sometimes make, as Darrell Waltrip calls it, for Mr. Feelgoods. They do certain part of it, but actually controlling it with your right foot can prevent the car from getting out from under you, or making a chassis adjustment such as a wedge or track bar, springs. There's so many more elements that outsiders or new fans don't understand, or people that just haven't experienced it yet.
Are you a fan of Talladega Nights?
I am. I think it is. I think it's
I
interesting.
don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah,
So put them down.
Yeah,
Right.
I do make jokes about that a lot. We were joking, doing something about an interview one time, and I said, I don't know what to do with my hands, and they said, just put your hands down.
Put your hands down, right?
Right.
Well, listen, it's an interesting sport, and it's huge. I mean, people get consumed. Frank he's ate up with this stuff.
What's your life plan? Where do you see yourself in, let's say, 2,
Yeah,
5, and 10 years?
What is the life of a driver? How long do you guys last?
Well, it depends. Some drivers start late. For example,
You started at 17 years old.
Yes, ma'am. I started at 17. Unfortunately, I don't come from a lot of family money. It's actually a good.
Welcome to
sure.
the club.
Well,
you're in
yeah.
good company here.
Well, the thing
Slacker
is,
family.
I know. We really gotta, we gotta take out 5, 6 mortgages. We gotta get
Step
on
it
that.
up.
Exactly.
I know.
Nana doesn't need her medication.
No,
I need
no.
tires.
No. Yeah.
So
who needs new teeth?
right.
Right, exactly.
So, yeah, that's the big part of it. I gotta think when you're starting out is Where the hell do you come up with the money for this?
And Woodruff Motorsports, they're located in South Carolina. Is that where they race out of?
Right. My owner's based in South Carolina. His cousin's in Florida. Paul, he handles a lot of the business ends of it. He's really good when it comes to helping find corporate sponsors. We're still in the process of working to get some partners behind us. We're looking to do about 6 to 7 races this year if the money can bring itself together.
Because it's how much per race would you say, Kyle?
It depends. I'd say average for us to run K&N and ARCA, I'd say about 30 to 40 a week.
Wow.
Now, what about your pit crew? I mean, you got to have a pit crew changing tires, right? How many people do you need in the pits?
Well, ARCA makes pit stops. K&N doesn't.
Wait, well, hold on a second. What now?
Okay. Again, this is where a lot of it's just different elements of the sport. With the NASCAR K&N series, it's more of a touring division. They sometimes make pit stops, but some of the races they do halfway breaks because they're trying to cut costs in the series.
They have a halftime.
Okay. Exactly, kind of. And they have a halftime. It's
Katy Perry plays.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Or we get Iggy Azalea, whoever's available.
Whoever's available.
Whoever's
Right.
fancier, right.
Usually for about an ARCA or an upper tier NASCAR pit crew, it's 6 guys over the wall. So, and then that's not including the guys who do the engines and suspensions that don't go over the wall. Plus your crew chief that's sitting on a pit wall.
Now, what do they
Holy
mean?
cow.
What do they mean when I'm watching a race and like somebody's had an accident and it's a yellow flag? What do you guys get?
Yellow flag, they call it a caution.
Right.
It just slows the field down, puts them behind usually the.
Can you
Chevy.
pass when everybody's
No.
all like? Oh,
Well,
man.
only way you can gain position is if you come on pit road and your crew has a faster stop, or if somebody falls back or gets penalized for some type of infraction. That's when the positions get shuffled. But other than that, under caution, there's no passing.
Green flag?
Go at it.
Go.
Absolutely.
Go.
So
Okay.
when you're starting out, you slam it to the floor and just shut your eyes, right?
Well, you hope sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
Depending if you're at Talladega or Daytona when you're 3x3 in the pack, absolutely, you just hold on and turn the wheel.
That
That's
sounds
awesome.
fun.
Well, listen, I wish you the best of luck.
We're going to keep an eye on you, Kyle. We're going to watch you. We hope you do well.
I wish you nothing but success. I don't know how you make the transitions from one to another, but I hope you can do it. You certainly seem like you know what's going on. How do you get? Is it like golf? Do you get certified? What do you get?
Well, you get a license. You apply with the series. You put in. You have to do. It's pretty much like applying for a job almost. You have to put in a resume. NASCAR or ARCA go through a process. Their committee comes together, makes a decision whether they feel you're ready or not, or have enough experience. If you don't have enough experience, they'll call you back and say, "Hey, we like what we see, but we need to see just a little bit more."
Is there a driving test? Did they take you out and test you?
Do you have to parallel park, Kyle?
No, you don't have to parallel park. You don't have to back into space. Thankfully. But that's just kind of their process, and you just kind of abide by it, and you go with the flow, and you work your way up, and more experience is a good thing.
When you're driving your car out, just regular on the road, is turning right weird?
Actually,
it's turning right like you're just like,
is it
this
like
is
cheating
so...
on your wife? It's like, do you feel a little dirty when you're turning right?
This is wrong. I shouldn't be doing this.
Not really, because NASCAR does do some road racing where you do turn left and right.
Oh, there you go.
So it's a little bit of practice.
That's by racing. Is what that is.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Both turns.
Right. They go both ways.
Absolutely.
All right, listen, Kyle, best of luck to you. Seriously,
Thank you.
good luck to you. I hope everything works out. I
And
hope you're tearing
keep
them
us up to date on what's going on.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll send you guys updates. We'll start following you on Twitter and let you know.
That would be
Send
great.
you some emails, and like I said, we're hoping to run Bristol as our first race if we can put all the pieces together.
Why'd you decide to be a race car driver?
I enjoy the speed and trying to control the uncontrollable. It's something that's appealed to me since I was 7
That had to
years
be
old.
music to your parents' ears.
My father was pretty okay with it. Mom kind of looked at me, and I think she about took the frying pan in my
Right.
face.
She was
Yeah,
nervous.
right.
She was nervous
She
for
is
you.
She is nervous, but she has started to come around recently now that I've gotten the approvals, and she sees that I'm also working full time and doing racing on the side. I went to school, got my 4-year degree.
Good for
I had
you.
a backup plan. I didn't want to put all my eggs in one
See,
basket.
that's your mistake right there. You know, you got to fly without a net, baby. That's how you do it.
You did it right.
Hang loose, right?
That's right.
No, you did it right.
Yeah,
you did
obviously
it right.
you did it right. Listen, Kyle, again, seriously, please keep us up to date. I wish you nothing but success. Go out there and tear them up, man.
Thank you.
All right, and rubbing is racing. That's all I know about racing.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
I know the car's getting a little loose, and apparently you're supposed to be.
The car's feeling good today.
Right.
It's feeling good and fast.
19 by the